Peter Jackson's King Kong is a first-person action-adventure game released in 2005 based on the film of the same name. Players experience the story through two perspectives: Jack Driscoll, a screenwriter trying to survive Skull Island, and King Kong himself, defending his territory against monstrous threats. As Jack, gameplay focuses on survival, using spears, guns, and the environment to fight off dinosaurs and giant insects. Ammunition is limited, creating a sense of tension and urgency. Players must solve light puzzles, use fire, and rely on teamwork with NPCs to stay alive. When controlling King Kong, the perspective shifts to third person. The mighty ape uses brute strength to battle giant predators and scale epic terrain. Combat includes ground slams, throws, and roaring fury attacks, showcasing his power and rage. The island is dark, hostile, and filled with oversized creatures. The game excels in atmosphere, using cinematic visuals and minimal HUD for immersion. Players frequently switch between stealth, action, and exploration across massive, detailed environments. The game's story closely follows the movie's plot, with added sequences for deeper gameplay. Voice acting by Naomi Watts, Jack Black, and Adrian Brody strengthens the cinematic feel. The tension builds up to the iconic finale in New York City with Kong's final stand. Fun fact, director Peter Jackson was heavily involved in development, giving Ubisoft access to film assets and creative input. The game won praise from critics and even appeared as a launch title for the Xbox 360. It's also one of the few movie-based games praised for both gameplay and atmosphere. From Russia with Love is a third-person shooter released in 2005 based on the 1963 James Bond film. Players step into the role of Sean Connery's Bond in a reimagined story that blends classic spy action with modern gameplay. The game features both stealth and explosive combat across stylish Cold War-era environments. The narrative follows Bond as he investigates a mysterious organization called Octopus, replacing Spectre due to licensing issues. The mission takes players from London to Istanbul and through a variety of exotic cinematic locations. The plot expands on the original film, adding new villains and missions. Gameplay combines shooting, hand-to-hand combat, and driving segments. Bond uses a mix of classic weapons like the Walther PPK and gadgets, including a jetpack and laser watch. Players can take cover, auto-lock enemies, and perform stylish takedowns during combat. Driving levels let players control classic Bond vehicles like the Aston Martin DB5, complete with gadgets and mounted weapons. These high-speed chases break up the action and stay true to the Bond formula of suave chaos and high-tech cool. Sean Connery reprises his role as Bond, lending his voice and likeness for the first time in a video game. The visual design faithfully recreates the 1960s aesthetic, from the fashion to the architecture and soundtrack, giving fans of the film a strong nostalgic kick. Fun fact: this is the only Bond game to feature Sean Connery, recorded over 40 years after the original film. The game also features a new female agent, Eva, and several reworked scenes to make the gameplay more action-heavy than the film's espionage focus. The Italian Job is a driving-based action game released in 2003, inspired by the 2003 film remake. Players relive the story of Charlie Croker and his crew as they plan and execute a high-stakes gold heist in Los Angeles and Italy. The game mixes high-speed chases, mission-based driving, and cinematic flair. Missions range from stealthy surveillance and tailing enemies to full-blown getaways and precision driving. Each mission requires skill behind the wheel, with tight turns, time limits, and multiple objectives to complete under pressure. The game features licensed Mini Coopers red, white, and blue, mirroring their iconic use in the film. Players also get to drive other vehicles like trucks, vans, and armored cars. Car handling is arcade-style, making it accessible but challenging in fast-paced scenarios. Set across detailed urban environments, players race through city streets, construction sites, and underground tunnels. The environments are destructible to a degree, allowing creative routes and dynamic chase scenes that match the film's tone. The game doesn't feature direct combat or gunplay. Everything is about the drive. A mission-based structure, voice-over cutscenes, and cinematic camera angles create a heist movie feel. While it doesn't follow the movie scene for scene, it captures the essence of the film. Fun fact: despite being based on the 2003 movie, the game was not voiced by the film's actors. A separate game based on the 1969 original was planned, but never released on PS2. The Mini Cooper stunts in-game were so central that some players saw it as a Mini Cooper commercial in disguise. Eragon is a third-person action-adventure game released in 2006, based on the fantasy film and novel of the same name. Players take on the role of Eragon, a young farm boy destined to become a dragon rider and challenge an evil empire. The game blends sword combat, magic, and dragon riding sequences. Combat involves hack-and-slash swordplay mixed with magical attacks like fireballs and telekinesis. Eragon can also parry, perform combos, and use his environment during fights. Battles often involve groups of enemies, giving the action a brawler-like pace. The game features levels inspired by locations from the movie, including forest trails, ancient ruins, and fortress walls. Some missions include puzzles and platforming elements, while others focus purely on combat or flying atop the dragon Saphira. Dragon riding stages offer a change of pace, as players take to the skies with Saphira, using fire breath and aerial maneuvers to destroy enemy ballistas, ships, and creatures. These segments are among the game's highlights, adding variety and scale to the adventure. Multiplayer co-op lets a second player join as Braum or Murtagh in some missions. Though brief, this feature adds an extra layer of teamwork to certain battles. The voice acting includes some of the film's cast, giving the game a stronger tie-in feel. Fun fact, Eragon was released to coincide with the movie and featured different gameplay across platforms. The PS2 version is considered more action-focused than the handheld versions. Despite the film's mixed reception, the game gained a cult following for its dragon riding levels. Scarface: The World Is Yours is an open-world action game released in 2006, acting as a sequel to the 1983 film. Players take control of Tony Montana, who survives the mansion shootout and sets out to rebuild his criminal empire from scratch in Miami's underworld. Gameplay is similar to Grand Theft Auto, with missions involving shootouts, drug deals, and territory takeovers. Players earn money by trafficking cocaine, upgrading Tony's mansion, and expanding his influence across the city. Combat includes third-person shooting, brutal executions, and the unique Blind Rage mode, where Tony becomes invincible and auto-aims enemies in a cocaine-fueled frenzy. Driving various vehicles and boat segments adds variety to the gameplay. Players can purchase businesses, smuggle drugs, and manage criminal operations. The world is split into multiple districts, each controlled by rival gangs that Tony must eliminate. Success means restoring Tony's reputation and reclaiming his empire. Tony is fully voiced, though Al Pacino only lent his likeness, not his voice. The game uses over-the-top dialogue and a strong licensed soundtrack, including 80s hits and original Latin music, immersing players in a stylized, violent Miami. Fun fact: the game acts as a what-if sequel where Tony survives the film's ending. Its tone is full of swagger and excess, earning cult status. A sequel, Scarface: Empire, was in development, but got canceled when the studio shut down. The Thing is a survival horror game released in 2002, serving as a sequel to John Carpenter's 1982 cult film. Players take on the role of Captain Blake, sent with a special forces team to investigate the mysterious events at the US outpost in Antarctica. Gameplay blends third-person shooting with squad management and psychological tension. Players command a team of soldiers, medics, and engineers. But trust is crucial, as anyone could be infected by the alien organism. Combat involves firearms, flamethrowers, and explosives, essential for destroying infected enemies. Ammo and health are limited, increasing the pressure during encounters with mutated creatures and horrifying transformations. The trust-fear system is a key feature. Squad mates react to your actions, hesitate too long and they'll panic or turn on you. Give them weapons and treat injuries, and they'll follow orders. Suspicion and fear play just as big a role as bullets. The game's icy setting and eerie atmosphere mirror the film's paranoia. Abandoned bases, blood-streaked snow, and sudden creature attacks keep tension high. Music and sound design amplify the dread, with nods to Ennio Morricone's original score. Fun fact: John Carpenter himself approved of the game and voiced a character cameo. The Thing was praised for its innovative trust mechanic and is considered one of the best movie-based games. A sequel was planned but canceled after the developer shut down. The Fast and the Furious is a street racing game released in 2006 for PS2, based on the popular movie franchise. Inspired by Tokyo Drift, the game drops players into the neon-lit world of illegal street racing, with a focus on drifting and car customization. Players race through the streets of Tokyo, competing in events like drift races, drag races, and circuit battles. The core gameplay emphasizes precision driving and mastering drift mechanics across winding mountain roads and urban highways. Customization is a major feature, with licensed cars from top manufacturers. Players can tweak performance, change visuals with body kits, spoilers, rims, and vinyls, capturing the tuner culture the series is known for. The game offers a story mode as well as free run and quick race options. As players win races, they earn money to upgrade cars and unlock new parts. Rival racers can challenge you spontaneously, keeping the action unpredictable and fast-paced. Visually, the game uses glowing lights, motion blur, and stylish effects to mimic the film's adrenaline-fueled vibe. The soundtrack features a mix of electronic, hip-hop, and rock tracks, creating a high-energy racing atmosphere. Fun fact: though tied to Tokyo Drift, the game features characters and cars from across the Fast and Furious universe. It was developed by Technics, known for other racing titles, and is one of the few F&F games that leans heavily into drifting as its core mechanic. Jaws Unleashed is an action-adventure game released in 2006, where you play as the legendary great white shark from the classic 1975 film. Set 30 years after the original movie, the game takes place around Amity Island, now a bustling marine hub. Players control Jaws in third person, using his powerful jaws, tail, and body to wreak havoc. You can destroy boats, eat swimmers, and battle sea creatures in open underwater environments and coastal areas. The game mixes story missions with free roam mayhem. Objectives include escaping labs, attacking docks, or taking down bosses like killer whales and submarines. It balances scripted chaos with the freedom to terrorize at will. Upgrades allow Jaws to become deadlier over time, unlocking stronger bites, more health, and improved speed. Combat can be surprisingly complex, involving grabs, spins, and combo kills both above and below the surface. Despite technical flaws like bugs and awkward controls, the game offers a unique power fantasy experience. The water physics, dynamic prey reactions, and destructible environments create satisfying, chaotic gameplay. Fun fact: Jaws Unleashed was developed by Appaloosa, known for Echo the Dolphin. It's one of the few games where you play as the villain of a horror film. The game was inspired more by Grand Theft Auto than the original movie, hence the open-world carnage. Van Helsing is a third-person action-adventure game released in 2004, based on the film starring Hugh Jackman. Players take on the role of the famous monster hunter, battling supernatural creatures across Gothic Europe in a dark, cinematic setting. The gameplay focuses on fast-paced combat, combining melee weapons like tojos and swords with firearms, such as pistols and crossbows. Players face classic monsters, including werewolves, vampires, and Frankenstein's creature. Van Helsing can perform stylish combos and dodge enemy attacks with acrobatic moves. Defeating enemies earns orbs used to unlock new abilities and weapon upgrades, adding depth and variety to the combat system. Levels span gloomy villages, haunted castles, and underground crypts filled with traps, secrets, and boss fights. The game closely mirrors the film's narrative, with added locations and enemies to extend the story. Hugh Jackman provides voice acting for his character, adding authenticity. The gothic soundtrack and detailed environments enhance the moody, monster-hunting atmosphere fans of the movie will recognize. Fun fact: the game was developed by Sapphire and released alongside the film as a tie-in. It uses the same engine as Devil May Cry, which inspired its stylish action and upgrade system. It's one of the few movie games praised for being better than the film it's based on. Enter the Matrix is an action game released in 2003, set in the Matrix universe and developed by Shiny Entertainment. The game acts as a companion to The Matrix Reloaded, offering players the opportunity to control two characters, Niobe and Ghost, both important in the film's plot. Gameplay blends hand-to-hand combat with shooting mechanics, inspired by the movie's iconic action scenes. Players can slow down time using bullet time, perform martial arts combos, and engage in acrobatic feats that defy gravity. The game emphasizes fluid, cinematic movement during battles. The story is set parallel to the events of the film, providing additional context and backstory. Players interact with the movie's characters and explore new environments, all while uncovering secrets and completing missions that tie directly into the film's narrative. The game features both single-player and multiplayer modes, with Niobe and Ghost offering distinct playstyles. Niobe relies on speed and finesse, while Ghost uses more brute force and powerful weapons. Both characters have unique levels and abilities to cater to different gameplay strategies. Environments are inspired by key locations in the Matrix universe, from city streets to underground hideouts. Cinematic cutscenes were directed by the Wachowskis, using the same actors and voice work from the movie, enhancing the overall immersion. Fun fact: Enter the Matrix was one of the first games to feature significant input from the film's creators, the Wachowskis. The game also includes exclusive footage that was not seen in the films, making it a rare example of a movie game with original cinematic content.
Thanks for watching.